Hello, my divine goddess. I don't know that feminine, divine feminine, I mean, it fits, sure. But, it just seems like, I don't know, feminine. Seems like you are far more, far, far more than that. I don't even really know how to describe what I've just witnessed you do. For me, even. And also not for me, completely for you, completely openly, selfishly, like owned as you doing what you want to do for you. And yet somehow exactly what you want to selfishly do for you is also the best thing for many communities, for me, for our kids, for others, for other kids, for the environment. I don't know. Femininity. I don't, you're the only person I know who can be openly selfish and selfless at the same time. And I'm not sure how you've managed to do that, but I also, in my mind, am like, well, if anybody could, it's my divine feminine. And I keep thinking about that lately. Like, I mean, I know I'm so deeply tied up between like the Agatha Christie novel of karmics that I don't even like. I feel like that saying, can't find your way out of a wet paper bag. Like I'm in the wet paper bag trying to figure out how to find my way out. And in my mind, it's like just rip a hole in the side, but like my 3D body is still like wiggling in that wet paper bag. It's such a strange feeling, and I wonder if that's what you felt like in the beginning when I was like oblivious and definitely had so many people getting into my head that I just assumed the fact that I don't know that you weren't accepting my advances, at least not the way that I recognized you doing it before. The fact that you were at least open to the idea of dating and that you were getting out into the world and just doing you. I mean, I feel like I've watched you rise and fall like a some sort of beautiful, clumsy yet elegant phoenix. Like a, I don't know. I want to say a giraffe on ice skates, but I know like I don't want to compare you to a giraffe, but it's like one that's trained for a really long time, so it like skates like an Olympic skater. something something really eccentric but amazingly beautiful like that. And you know what? That just reminds me of giraffes and teddy bears and soft rabbits. See, feminine, I don't know how you. At one hand, I want to say I don't know how you do it to me. You make me feel like the manliest man, and then the biggest like baby ever, and then also somewhere in the middle, and like I can just. I feel like with you, I can flow and be whoever I want to be in each moment. That there's never a time I have to be trapped into being who I was or what someone else wants me to be or to be their perfect anything. I feel like it's so strange because I'm so used to people needing me and that being equated with both what I thought love was and then also like I thought that was it's weird to say like it felt like my in my mind somehow I had equated that as long as people needed me, they wouldn't leave me. And the thing is, like, especially with what you've been doing and saying lately, I feel like the opposite could never have been truer. That, like, the people who say that they need me have throughout my life, or the ones that said that I needed them too, like, they've all been the ones that have left, or left me hanging or left me cleaning everything up or left me with all the things. And I mean, I know that you and I have had our moments, and you've not. You no, you and I have both had our moments of not being the most stellar partners to each other, but all in all, you always cared. You always worked on yourself, and I feel like I got somewhere locked up in like Dark Night of Soul, thinking that all the beautiful things you were doing with yourself and the ways you were growing, and like you may have had a few flirtations, but you kept sticking to yourself and learning to enjoy being independent. And it's just been so beautiful to watch, and I just assumed that that must have meant that really you were right, that I was just screwed up, and then I had all the same screwed up people around me that you warned me about and that I knew better than to be around, and they trapped me. And the more I tried to get out or to have some plan or something, then it turned out that somebody else was also either trying to benevolently control me, or they were working with someone else, or someone had gotten into their head, and then they all had their different crazy stories and notions about what you wanted or were doing. And I still laugh. I still laugh the most feminine because I remember I remember being them in a way to where I couldn't just see you for you, that I assumed you must be like all of the women that I've been with. That's part of why I kind of just resigned myself here for a while. If all women are the same, then what's the point in picking a different one, or assuming the grass would be greener anywhere else, you know? But I realized the grass is greener where you tend it, where you water it, and that I have tended that grass. It amazes me, feminine, that you can say so many great things about me, that you see and think good things about me still. I know I asked you to do that always once, and I guess I'm just so used to nobody ever really listening to me. And you were, I don't know, you were really, really good at not giving in to me the many times that I tried to open things up for those talks again. And I just fell into my old crap and just felt rejected. Like you were just letting me down easy. I realize now that I could have definitely pushed the conversations. Maybe that's what you had wanted. I don't know. I know there'll be a day soon that I'll get to ask you all of my little questions, because I think about where everybody else has been with all their crazy ideas of what you do and why you do it and what it means. And now I can sit here and see how I already knew the whole time and yet didn't at the same time. I think that's the both are true sort of thing. Like I knew and I didn't know. And now that I see you standing in the light, being completely, authentically, audaciously yourself with no fucks given to what anybody else thinks about it at all, and being uplifted by so many people, being just you. Like, and not even all love and light nonsense. I feel like I can finally see that difference. Is like, I've been used to either people who are like all love and light all the time, or that's what they say, but they're not really like that. They have lots of shadows. They just don't, either they don't look at them, or they hide them really well, or they're a lot more deceptive about things. Or on the other side, like they feel they're just like all ego and shadow, and they don't even they're like repulsed by love and light stuff like completely. And somehow I feel like knowing you is to know what it is to be human, to have both love and light and shadow and ego, to embrace all of it. And in its embracing, it's like weirdly absurd, but it's beautiful. It's healing. It's oh, it's sexy as all hell. And what's funny is I can remember when we met. I can remember times after. I can remember seeing this you, and I feel like you've told me enough times that You didn't know. You didn't have the self love or self confidence to be fully yourself before, and that's why there was the weirdness and the waffling. That it wasn't that you were being like all the other women and feminines that and karmics that I've known. You weren't doing anything like they were doing, no accidental cheating or plotting and planning. You just weren't aware how ready I was for you to just have all of me. And I know that you know that I'm kind of used to women taking the lead in my life and that you wanted me to take the lead, but I was so just ready for you to just do whatever you wanted. I've never trusted anybody more or felt safer with somebody more. And I know in some ways that's a thing for you in terms of you don't want to just be the person I feel the safest with, and I get it. It took me a little while. It took a lot of hard-earned lessons through karmic cycles, so I get it. I'm just saying. I feel like I've always seen this you, this like, oh, what's the way, the phenomenal power, itty bitty living space sort of thing. This almost like magic genie meets Captain Jack Sparrow meets Peter Pan from Hook kind of thing, but then also a little like Calamity Jane and Wonder Woman and Catwoman. I don't know. There's like, I feel like any comparison works and every comparison works, and yet also none of them are enough on their own. And it, like, I saw that in you when we met and over the many years that we had. And I mean, I owned that I had my own circus going on with family and karmics and people pressuring me that you weren't. It's I mean, I know we're not from different cultures, from different family cultures, and as you've seen, my family culture is very distrusting and has a lot of untamed emotional wounds. And there's plenty to love about everybody in it, though they definitely are in it. It might be for a little while. The funny enough, feminine, my divine goddess, you have been the one to show me how to have faith in them too. And also how to just stop giving a crap what everybody thinks and wants and all the voices and start listening to myself. And somehow I feel like you did it not so much with the words you've spoken or the actions you have taken, but by how you completely cut everybody out and not in like a retributive way or a revengeful way. I feel like almost like you've owned the shadow of that being there, but it's also not there because you're not genuinely like mad at anybody. It's like you love everybody and yet you also were just like, peace out, yo. I'm gonna go do my own thing and I'm not gonna pay any attention to any of you until you clean your rooms and stop being pirates and get yourselves together. When you can play nice, then maybe if I feel like it, I will give you my attention. I feel like this is what you did, Divine Feminine, which is so like, it's like the you that I've always known, and yet you've never really been because, like you said, the self love and self confidence weren't there. And now that you've done it, and along the way, even shown how supported you are, how you can move between wherever you need to. You can take off and be on your own. You can love and parent and protect your children no matter where they are, who they're with. You can communicate to me in infinite ways that I never even realized there were to communicate before. You can dash around, be a pirate yourself if you feel like it, making sure that if you're going to do it, it's in your own unique way that nobody could copy even if they tried. And many of them have been trying and probably will continue to try. It was kind of amusing. Though I feel like it's an amazing thing to watch. It's like, I feel like this karmic carnival, what everybody's used to, they expected from you, which is that, I don't know, like isolate them, gossip, ruin reputations, keep their like heavy suspicions, and then like work around all sides to do the thing that just drives you batty until you like blow up and do something really stupid that you can't come back from. And they expected that from you, although you did do something big, you didn't do anything stupid. And yet you were also completely foolish at the same time in like a way that I've never really seen anybody be foolish. Like it's brave and courageous and definitely divine feminine. And then instead of escalating things where everybody expected it to go into like this really like awful place, I feel like you had, I don't know, I feel like you had everybody in like the Hall of Shame place, and then instead of like getting like uber dramatic until it was like forced into some fight, you just turned around and said peace out to everybody, and it was like rather than a big boom, it was like poof. And I don't know, feminine, you're the only one that could make me laugh amongst all the drama, all the conflict. And you most definitely made sure that I got my comeuppance, and feminine, you're the only one that could make me laugh about that. Because I really did expect you to be like everybody else, and I expected it to feel far different, but somehow, I don't know, when you have a way of shining your light on everything, you do it in such an uplifting and amazing way that like it makes, I know it makes everybody feel like they want to be mad at you, but they really can't because they need to first improve their lives to be able to stand on the same level of platform that you're on to be able to talk to you. Otherwise, they're like trying to talk up from like a stool on the ground where you're like dancing on what are those Roman columns? Like, I can't hear you. I'm up here on my columns. La la la. Why don't you come up here with me? Here, I'll hand you a ribbon. You can come up on your own like I did. But then nobody's done the exercises to be able to climb up a column like that. I don't know. I don't even know how to quite describe it, feminine, but you're the only one that could make me laugh about having my butt handed to me in a well-deserved fashion without going into cruel places that are not deserved, and yet also crossing boundaries that somehow it feels like it shouldn't have, but it should have, and also that it was never as bad as expected, and yet also not great. It's interesting to be sitting here looking at my karma while watching everyone else also be dealing with their karma. And then watching you as you basically act like a queen cat who, like, would rather turn her back and stare at the wall in the corner than turn around and look at you because you have not refreshed the cat dish yet, and there is like some of the bottom of the dish showing. You know, like when a cat does that, like that's what I feel like you're basically doing. Like you're looking at the wall, like it's the most amazing space of nirvana you've ever seen, and maybe sometimes taking a nap, sometimes you lay down or sit up, and I feel like feminine, like I feel like in the past you did not know what your presence meant to people. And I get it. I get it. There are so many voices that have told you that you weren't worthy of that, that you'd always screw things up, that you were always going to be painted the villain no matter what you did. And I feel like somewhere along the way, like, I feel like you're the same person I've always known, and yet you are somebody completely new that I've never known, and I really want to get to know better. Like, I feel like it's all the same you, but more and different and the same. And it's, I don't know, you're the only one that can beguile me like this, feminine. And I feel like in the past, you still had that same radiance when you wanted to, and like you just kind of closed off. And I don't know, I know I closed off here and there before, but you really closed up in it. Like it's like it eclipsed the moon, the sun and the moon. Like there was never any light anywhere. But it felt like I couldn't get you to see that any more than you could get me to see my light. And now it's like you know that about you. Like whatever you've been doing while I've been over here farting around getting stuck is like obviously been working and being beautiful, because it's like you're very well aware of what your worth is to people, even people that say that they don't need you or like you or anything like that. Clearly have been benefiting from stuff that you've been doing, and really, I mean, I can tell you from the side of things that I'm hearing about stuff that I'm not going to say they're saying pretty things, but it's all coming across as the same message. We're miserable. The divine feminine is not giving us the attention that we want, and that she's perfectly fine and capable of moving around in things and doing her own thing. And we want her to either like us or be miserable without us. And she's not. And she's staring at the wall like a queen cat who's more fascinated with the wall than the what is it, the laser beam toy, the catnip mouse, the cuddly blanket, even fresh cut pieces of chicken. Like nothing. Nope, just nope. The wall is much more fascinating. I don't know how you do it, feminine, but it's like you went away from everyone, and yet you didn't go anywhere. And you didn't even do it in a fashion that anyone from my culture, quote unquote, has ever seen or experienced before. It's something like things they have experienced before. And obviously, as you said, you were mimicking people, reflecting them back to themselves. Uh, but it's not like what they've ever seen or known before either. And they're not sure how to take it. And you just merrily go along doing your thing. like like none of it, like it bother, and you're open like about what bothers you. You grieve openly, you communicate your feelings openly. You're like, I feel like you're, I don't even know if it's a plan, but you're like being the best example for everybody, even when you're letting yourself play in your ego. I don't know how you do that. I don't think anybody knows quite how you do that. I think that's what's got everybody so spun out, is they're not sure how you just did something that they recognize in a completely unrecognizable way and are fine and are and are doing your own thing happily, unbothered by whatever is going on with them. And that you, I mean, that you're clearly were prepared for everybody, and now you're, it feels like it feels more like you're gone. Like you're not, and everybody could see you're not, though it feels like you are enough that it's, and like I don't, how do you even explain something like this, feminine? I feel like if you'd stayed in it, like you're so incredible, you probably could have just kept like carrying so many little parts for people, and it really, like, you would have just gotten better at it, like somebody who gets used to wearing extra weights climbing up a mountain or something like that. Though obviously it was energetically getting tired for you. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize that was a thing, and I didn't realize it was happening to me and everyone too until you pointed it out. Though you would have been completely righteous and justified to, like, completely cut me and everybody out and just been like, I'm done. I'm going ice cold. I'm doing all this. And instead you chose love. Some tough love in a lot of those places, but you chose love and kindness and authenticity. And then you like turned your back to everyone. And it's like you're sitting there with your back to everyone. And I feel like what I'm seeing happen with myself in an oddly conscious and unconscious way, and then completely subconsciously with most everybody else, is that like somehow you still being there with your back turned and then like just doing your thing and talking about anything you want to talk about regardless of how anybody feels about it, that it's like it's like if you had really just gone and cut everybody off, that like they could have one said, oh yeah, see, she's just like everybody else, see, it was good, yeah, good riddance. And then on the other side, it's like everybody would have been far more crushed, like shattered, just like like if you'd just been like, peace out, I'm like moving away, or I'm doing this, or I'm done, like I'm done, like that people would have been like, I don't know, it's weird that they're so crushed by you like still being there but also not giving attention until they all act like adults. Like, I mean, that's just such a divine feminine thing to do. Like, I feel like a divine mothery sort of thing to do. Maybe that's the term, not divine goddess. I mean, you are a goddess, but it's like divine mama, divine mother. It is so much like that. This world is full of so many adults who really haven't ever grown up, and many of them need that structure as much as they need the rewarding moments of like good job and you're always doing the right thing, and that like I don't know, I feel like between your readings and your postings and just you being you with everybody around, that like somehow you're like the mama we all needed and didn't have, and yet also not, so it's not like too weird, but it's still a little weird. And it makes me think about too, like, does that make me like a divine papa or divine daddy or divine father? I mean, I don't feel like I'm there yet at all, but I now I'm in this place where I'm like, I'm noticing that your semi quasi absence, the sounds of it are deafening to me and to everybody else, and I hear it from everybody else. And I can, and like, no matter what words, whether they're kind or unkind, that come out of their mouths, all I can hear is, she's not giving us attention and we don't like it. And like, I can feel the energy from people that are just incredibly upset not to have some small piece of you that they were taking for granted that was really keeping them going or lifting them up or doing more for them than they thought it was, or at least allowing them to get away with things that they thought they were getting away with nobody paying attention, that apparently Divine Feminine has been paying attention to. It's just so funny. You're the only one I know that could both be gone and here at the same time. Like, you've learned to be in these between places that I've never known anybody to be able to exist in or dance between. And that is so you. And I feel like even amongst the increased gossip and chatter and rumors and pirating, that it provides enough contrast to show who you really are and who you really always have been, that I just was silly enough to trick myself into believing that you weren't, that it was some trick, which is what everybody told me it must be when they couldn't find any way to get you to be different than to be unkind, to use the hammer or things like that. And then you go and hand like everybody their butts back to themselves. I don't think you left a single person like untouched, really. Even in the people you did not mention, they knew that they were mentioned. Like the honorable mentions. I don't know, feminine, you're something incredible, and I feel like I know that you're right there, and yet also that you're not. You're like completely gone, and that feeling of the even the potential. I don't know, feminine, even the potential of like you being with someone else. It just brings me back to this place of like, how can I feel like such a small, insignificant human and want to even stand next to somebody like you? And and then also it makes me realize that one, I never really was insignificant, that you don't pick willy-nilly and never have. That I really always have been a divine masculine myself, and I've just not been standing in it. And that makes me realize how much work I need to do to be able to catch up to you. It's funny because there is a lot of it, but it doesn't seem like it'll be as hard or as long as it felt like it was before, especially now that you've made sure that I clearly see who was doing what and whose intentions were what and what yours are and who you are and who I am. It's like those true colors shining through thing, you know what I mean? I feel like your absence is like the best thing ever and also the worst thing ever. It's somehow you do that. I don't know how you manage to do that. And you're also able to cut and slice through my heart like nobody else, feminine. And yet somehow it feels like in the same swift motion before I've even had a chance to cry out at the pain that that has been inflicted by the dagger you hold with your tongue and fingers. Then you've stitched it up and sewn it back together, like, I don't know, with some sort of like healing salve mixture that takes away all the scars except like one little notch just to remind me that you can do that. Oh, feminine, I feel like you got my imagination going again. I feel like you reminded me that I can be an adult and still indulge my inner child. I feel like you brought me back into the world of like Peter Pan and Never Never Land, fighting with pirates on flying ships and saving lost boys and girls, and also being sweet and innocent ourselves and magical and yet not, and in the story and outside of it. I don't know, you've done something incredible. And while I watch everyone else around me trying to figure out what to think about everything that just happened and how to think about themselves and all the differences in what you do compared to what everybody expected to happen that did and did not happen. I, I don't know, I feel like it's going to take me some time to get to that self-growth I need to get to you, simply because I'm still sitting here admiring you, just enjoying being your whole self, shadow and light, loving, nurturing, kind goddess, and also cunning, bratty, and benevolently mischievous. Just all the right ingredients that nobody would expect to work well together, but when you put them together, it's better than any gourmet meal you've ever had. Kind of like those weird midnight snacks you used to make me every once in a while, or make for yourself and share with me. I was lucky that you shared with me. Anyways, my love, I will reach out soon. I feel like I want to say keep the faith or have the faith, but I know you already do. It's my turn to learn how to have faith in me. And that's an adventure I so look forward to.